Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in and watching this recording. I am here with David Pisarek of Wow Digital, and we are going to talk about your nonprofit's website and how to leverage AI.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Lindsay. Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. And I hope that you get some good insights or takeaways from this that you can go today, right now, or right after listening to this and implement.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have kind of dabbled with Chat GPT and things like that. How is this different, or how can an organization tap into AI to help them build out their website?
Yeah. So where do we start?
Where
Right.
do we
First
start?
thing that I want to start with is don't be scared of the technology. It's here. It's here to stay. It is not going to replace you, but somebody that knows how to use it might replace you, right? So you need to figure out how to use the technology in a way to ultimately save you time, right? It's here, it's not going anywhere. So what do we do, right? So on the wall behind me over here, I feel like I'm about to tell you the weather, right? We do a content workshop with our clients, and what we've got is like the top half of the board is the annual content calendar. So why am I talking about content? If you want to drive more traffic to your website over time, you need to put time and effort into creating content and then publishing it on your website. So that's kind of like super involved.
Mhm.
But what you need to do is take a look at your analytics for your site. If you don't have analytics, get in touch. We'll install it for free for you. Get in, get some insights. What is the content that people are looking for on your site? If you've got Google Search Console, you can take a look at what are the search terms that people are looking for that are driving them to your site. And then you want to create content around what's your popular content, because that's what's resonating. That's what's going to drive people to your site.
Well, great. So, like content, for example, like something like this, we're recording this. I will put it on a link. Normally I go live, so now I'm kind of glad that maybe I'm not going live here today. What would be some other examples of just like that kind of continuous content that you could put up on your site?
Awesome. So I just wanted to pause there for a sec to give you an opportunity. But so this
Sure.
board, I want to go back to this board here. So the top half is the annual content calendar. So we'll sit down with our clients and we'll go, okay, what is all the content that you can produce over the course of a year? Um, so I've got on my desk here like a bowl of post-it notes, and we'll sit down. We do this for ourselves as well. This is our internal one. So what are all the different topics? And you can sit down for a half hour. Every post-it note, if you want to use tech, that's fine. For me, for this, I like post-it notes, because then I can just crumple it up and throw out like the ideas that I don't like anymore. But
Mhm.
just quick, like in a 2 minute sprint, 1 minute sprint, how many different ideas and one or two words. We're not looking for like full, complete thoughts around any of this. And then go, okay, if your business is focused on helping African American people, right? There's Black History Month, right? So you might want to kind of get these bits of content for that month. If you deal with some kind of cancer, for example, like you're trying to raise, or diabetes or whatever, what are these awareness months that happen through the whole year? And what content can you tie to that? And then put those articles for that month on the calendar, right? And then
Mhm.
take a look at the rest of the content and just go, okay, these kind of like go together. We're just going to put these ones in January, these in February, March, April, and go through the whole calendar of the year that way. The bottom half of the calendar is the current month. So we take off the post-its from the top, we put them on the bottom so that we know, okay, these are the dates that we're going to publish these bits of content. What does that allow us to do? It allows us to not get freaked out and panic. Like, what are we going to talk about? Right? Because
Mhm.
everybody is like, what are we going to post on social today? Right? So this totally helps with that. The other thing that we've got on here, so the blue ones are the articles. The yellowish light green ones are the channels that we're going to publish the content on. So we're going to publish on email, social, LinkedIn. So sorry, email, our main social channels, and then something special on LinkedIn, right? For example. And we know what we have to do. It just makes it so much easier and much more organized. So where does AI come in on any of this? Lindsay, any thoughts?
I mean, I've used it for like ideas on social media, what should I post about today? Or I've even prompted like, give me 30 days worth of ideas, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So I love using in my team, we use ChatGPT all the time. Um, we use it a lot for brainstorming. So our nonprofit does XYZ. Here's where we're located. Here's the people that we help. Here's what we typically do. What are 100 ideas for content for blog articles, for example, right? The reason why I like blog articles is because they're kind of like longer format versus social. Um, Plus posting blogs on your site, you can leverage search engine optimization to raise your visibility in SERP, which is search engine result pages, so that you can get more traffic coming to your site. Ultimately, as nonprofits, you want to have people coming to your site to ideally make a donation. Chances are they're not going to. In reality, it's going to take a while to build them up where they actually believe in your cause and they're willing to do something about it. So leveraging AI to do some brainstorming, right? That's an awesome idea. If you've only got like 10 ideas, that's not really enough content for the whole year. So you can then leverage it and go, these are the ideas I came up with, expand on them, right? And give me some more ideas. The next step out of that is let's create blog articles. So we're talking like 500 or 600 words, nothing huge, no PhD dissertations, right? Nothing crazy like that.
Right.
Use AI for the first draft. Put in your ideas, your topics, your thoughts, etc., and then ask it to write a clear, concise, specify the tone that you want to use. So maybe you're more corporate, or maybe you're more friendly, or maybe you use a lot of slang or whatever, right? Give it that idea, and then let it produce the blog. The problem though is you can't, and Google's wised up to this, you shouldn't use the blog article or the content that comes out of ChatGPT, right? What you want to do is you want to then edit it, make sure that reword the pieces that need to be reworded so it makes sense for your organization,
Right.
and then publish it. But you can leverage it to save you like a whole whack of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the editing piece, like you said, is key. Because in my experience, it still kind of sounds like a robot. You can train it, right? You can say, use this tone, or here's some other things I've written, try to make it sound like me or whatnot. But like an example I have is I wrote something the other day and just said Denver, right? And I popped it in there. And then instead of saying Denver, ChatGPT said, located near the cascading Rocky Mountains. It's like, well, that's a little too much, right? So I think that's key, is like, yes, use it to save you time, but you can't just copy and paste it and expect it to be good to go.
No control C, control V out of there, but you can definitely use it to help. So let's take this one step further. Okay, so we've used AI at this point now to generate these ideas, right? And then the current month, we're going to leverage AI to create some initial drafts of articles. You edit them, you can post them on your site, etc. The next step is taking that article, popping it back into GPT, and saying, split this down into 7 different social media posts, right? Give me these quick little snippets and suggestions for imagery to go along with it, for example, right? So then you can take it and 7, 8 articles or social posts. That's like 2 weeks of content, right there from that one blog article. Right. So you can take it and then turn it into more without a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. I never thought of doing it to expand upon a certain idea.
Yeah. So you want to tell it what's the platform you're posting it on, approximate number of words. So if it's Instagram, for example, you might want like 10 to 15 words, right? So that you can fit it in a graphic that'll look good and whatever. There's a way that you can actually, I was at I hosted or emceed. I ran a expert panel and I gave a master class 2 weeks ago at Digital Marketing Conference of Canada. And one of the other presenters was talking about using AI exactly for this thing that we're talking about, but you can give AI a prompt and tell it to export this as a CSV or make a spreadsheet out of your topic ideas, right? Or the social posts or whatever, you can actually create, and I didn't think about this, and I'm a little disappointed in myself, but you can create a Canva template, and then you can import all of these where it will automatically grab the text for each one and create a new graphic based on that template.
Wow.
Then you can like automate creation of the graphics,
Yeah, saves a lot of time. I definitely spend a lot of time doing that.
right? So if we can use Canva to save us time, then we can spend our time doing the bigger priority tasks that we all have on our plates to do.
Right. Yeah, so I just want to circle back to the website. And so when you're saying an article, and putting that on your website, how does that help a nonprofit organization? Is that kind of that seeking awareness, showing up more in search engines?
Yeah, so great question, and I was, I guess, presuming some knowledge there around that. So thank you
Sure.
for going back to that. Yeah, so with Google, Google gives preferences to websites for a few reasons. One, that it's secure, so make sure you have an SSL certificate, so the site is HTTPS, not HTTP. They give preference to websites that are really good on mobile devices. So make sure that your site is responsive or has a separate theme for mobile devices. That'll help you rank higher. And the third thing that we know for a fact actually does work is producing content on a regular, frequent, consistent basis and publishing it to your site. So over a 10-month period, we worked with several organizations, and on average, we're able to, by using basically this here, we're
Mhm.
able to get over 500% increase in unique organic search engine traffic. So those are new people coming to the website over time.
Mhm.
So it's not an instant thing, but it will help. You just got
Right.
to commit to a process of getting stuff done.
And I love that that's something that you don't have to spend money on, that it's, essentially more traffic to your site, more eyeballs on your cause, without doing an ad or putting on a fundraising event or whatnot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of other tips and tricks around the content and what you should be doing. So you want to make sure that you've got a clear call to action really early on in the content. So maybe it's make a donation. It should be related to whatever the article content is. All right. So if you're talking about um, creating maybe your organization fundraises to buy school supplies for children in some third world country, right? Uh, Maybe the call to action there isn't to donate. Maybe it's to buy school supplies,
Mhm.
right? So you're kind of trying to game the the call to action there. Like how many school supplies could you buy this month or this year or whatever it happens to be?
Sure. Yeah. Or I'm thinking too, for my business, I'm always trying to gather email addresses by, you know, whatever means. having like a free thing or whatnot. So I could see nonprofits kind of using that same strategy with gathering email addresses in hopes that down the road that they might make a donation.
Yeah, a lot of times what's very successful is having something called a lead magnet, which is what you're talking about, where there's a bit of
Right.
content that's kind of gateway protected. You've got to provide the email address in order to get it. The one tip that I would have for people is not to make it downloadable from the website, because I often go in and I put in test@test.com, for example. And if it's downloadable, then you don't actually have a real email address. So what I recommend is that you have some kind of automated process on the back end where it will shoot out an email to the email address. So if it's a valid account, then they will get whatever it was that they were asking for.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if they did try that, right, with like the fake email and then it didn't work, then hopefully they would go back and pop in the real email address so that it's actually in your email.
Yeah, and you could say like, fill this, give us your email address, and we'll send you, right? And so people know that it's not going to be downloadable right there off the site.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot of stuff that you could be doing with content that you can leverage different platforms out there to help you leverage. I said leverage twice. That's weird. But there's
It
there's
works.
things that you could do to save yourself time and make it easier, provided that you've actually kind of like thought through the different parts of it. So sit down, try to figure out what it is that you want to actually achieve. Take a look at your analytics, like I was talking about earlier on. Make sure that you understand why people are coming to your website, and then produce content and go at it. And you will see results over time, but it's not instant, right? So it will take a couple of months. It might take 2 months or so, but stay persistent with it. If after 5 months it's not working, get in touch with me and I'll give you a free consult and we'll figure out what's going on.
Yeah, what platforms do you use for AI?
So we use ChatGPT. We've got the paid version, so we've got access to version 4. Apparently, version 5 is coming out kind of soon. And then there's also another one called Perplexity, which is it's an AI search engine kind of hybrid.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
And what's the difference of Chat GPT, like the free version versus the paid version?
Yeah, so the free version's great, but it's on an older version. It's I think GPT-3 and 3.5. GPT-4 opened up availability to surf the web. So you can take a page on your website, pop it in, and ask it to reword the content on it for you if you wanted to. It's also connected, so it'll create images and stuff like that for you. I don't know if that's part of the free one either. There are apps that you can get that integrate with it. Um, and yeah, I decided for myself and my team that we would use the paid one because it opened up the internet door, which is what we wanted access to.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
so there you
uh
go.
yeah, well great. Well, definitely some great quick tips that people could go and implement and increase traffic and eyeballs on just awareness and maybe your email list down the road too.
Yeah. Something else that you could do is you can use it to ask it to come up with a list of competitors in the space. So in business, we talk about competitors, right? In the nonprofit space, we don't think of other nonprofits as competitors, but
Yeah.
really they are, because they're taking
Peer
donor
peer
dollars.
organizations.
Fair, right? So you
Yeah.
can you can ask it to create a list of similar like organizations, either locally, regionally, provincially, right? Or nationally, state, whatever you're looking for, global. You could ask it to create a sheet out of it. So like ask it to create a table view with the name of the organization, a link to the website, their annual budget for whatever, if it can find it, and then a main contact over there. It may be in their marketing communications team or their donor team, fundraising, that kind of thing. And then you can kind of look at those and go, okay, what content are they producing? Right? Is there something that we might want to connect with them to be able to run an event together to bring more awareness to it?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, collaboration is always helpful, and especially with in like the grant space, what I encourage people to do is find their peer organizations, find out who's funding them, because if you have a similar cause, then they might also want to fund you. So it can be a helpful exercise, and a number of different ways.
You could ask it to find grant opportunities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
and the
can
search the web version, I have to play around with that.
I speaking of grants, I did do this maybe about so we've been using AI for about 4 years now in my agency. And one of the things that we did about a year and a half ago was we used AI to actually go through and do a grant submission for one of our clients. So
Mm.
we grabbed the form, we popped it into AI, we said, this is the organization, here's their mission, here's what they want to do, here's how they want to spend the money. Here are the questions in the grant submission, answer
Mhm.
them. And then it produced and I one of the things that I love to do as a little, I guess, pro tip is I ask it, I say, this is what we want to do. So maybe it's brainstorming for content, maybe it's filling out a grant application, etc. Ask me any questions you need to in order to properly do X, Y, and Z, but ask me the questions one at a time and wait for me to answer, to reply. Right.
Mhm.
So then it walks through kind of more, I guess, chat like, where it'll ask me a question, I'll put in the answer, it'll go to the next one, the next one, the next one, instead of giving me like 8 questions and then have to like go back and forth.
Sure.
And I've been able to get better results out of it through that way. One other little tip is tell it who you want to act as. So if it's a grant application, for example, you would say act as our senior fundraising executive, right?
Mhm.
Or if it's around content, act as a public relations specialist.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fascinating. On the grant side, again, I know I've said this previously, but again, I would just echo what we've already said, that you still might have to edit it. You might have lots of strange adjectives in there. Um, I would definitely recommend using it and seeing if it can say things maybe a different way, or add in some additional things. But yeah, the copy and paste um isn't recommended.
Exactly, right? So you get this
Right.
answer, you get the article, you get whatever it happens to be. Absolutely, you have to reword it. I have early on gotten just garbage out of the system where it just made up stuff. So
Right.
if you're going to ask it to find resources or to find any kind of statistic, ask it to cite the reference
Hmm.
and then actually go and look at the reference. Make sure that that's actually
Right.
what was published on there.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're letting it help you do the research, just follow up and make sure it's good research.
Yeah. So the key is how can you leverage this in what you're doing to save yourself couple of hours a month or a couple of hours a week so that you
Right.
can do other things. I really like using ChatGPT. I live in spreadsheets and using it for custom formulas to do stuff in there. I find it really, really helpful. So if you're looking at any kind of um, data around maybe your donors, right? You can take a spreadsheet, you can upload it into GPT, and you can ask it to run an analysis on it. I would just make sure that anything you're putting into there, you just scrub names, email addresses, any kind of personal identifiable information out of it. So it's just the raw data. So if it's just like, what's our average donation? All right, so in
Mhm.
Excel, you can just do like a quick average there. But if you want to do average by month, you can do that as well. You would have to write a custom formula. You could have GPT do that, or you can just grab the dates, the values, throw that in and ask it to produce that for you.
Yeah, really helpful data for you. Well,
Perfect.
great. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Don't be scared of the technology. Play around with it. Play around with it. You do use it for something in your personal life. If you're like, I don't know how I would use this for work, right? Just get used to it. It's going to be here. It's here. It's been here and it's still really infantile in what it is. Somebody at the conference I was at, they said GPT-4 is like talking to a 4-year-old, right?
Mhm.
So it's still really, really early days. It's only going to get more powerful over time. Um, but like I said, if you're going to put any content, any data into it, make sure you don't have anybody's real names or anything like that in there. Um, I'm not convinced that that isn't being used for something somewhere. So
Sure.
just be
Yeah,
cautious
that
with
it's
the data
like
that you're putting
storing
into it.
it and then popping it out somewhere else.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And GPT just announced actually that in the paid version, so you've got like your the chat history. So all of the prompts that you've put in, it will now use those as memory. So you can reference old other chats that you've had in
Mhm.
there. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have to keep typing in the same thing. You could also create a profile. So like I'm in Canada. So I put in the profile that I want things typed in Canadian English, not American English. So color, for example, has U in it.
Right.
Um, I like to spell nonprofit hyphenated, so I put that in there. So really, you can kind of build a library and tell it the tone that you like and have it apply across everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, David. How can people find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do is go to wowdigital.com and you can click, there's a button right there, clear call to action that says get your free consult or book a consult. So you can do that and that'll pop right into my calendar, or you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can email me david@wowdigital.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Helpful tips today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me on here and looking forward to coming back down the road.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Have a great day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.